All right, we're live. We're live. Mic check. Make sure everything's all nice and connected here. Says that we're live. Make sure. All right, it looks like it's picking everything up okay, which is fantastic. So we've got a little bit of housekeeping before we get started today. We'll get into our hourly check for the 8 a.m. hourly closes here. In about 10 minutes, probably we'll start the analysis. It's 7:33 a.m. Eastern right now. So I reached a point where the amount of garbage I see out there is absolutely infuriating. Literally, my blood boils. So we're just going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at YouTube and see what happens. See if we can get some people's attention to actually come over and check out a stream where they can learn something and take full advantage of the calls that we're making. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm excited about it. You know, obviously the challenges are very difficult for people to pass. That's why those companies are printing money. But I have a lot of confidence that if people follow the signals religiously in here, they will pass those challenges. And those challenges are not real trading. So, you know, we can speak very openly about that. There's no regulatory issues. It's all demo. So that's no problem, right? So I can actually tell you guys, hey, you know, if this was a challenge right now I was taking, I would take this trade. You know, those are the kind of statements that I can make based on challenges that I can't make based on, you know, live trading. That's, you know, one important thing. Just check here. The video is kind of, there it is. So with the challenges, I can be a lot more upfront about the picks that we're making here. And I can tell you, hey, you know, if you're trading a challenge, you know, it's going to be based on the hourly closes. And, you know, for me in my own trading, because it's real money, I'm very picky about the trades that I take because we're not out here, you know, I'm not trading, you know, 10 contracts and, you know, if I lose 20 grand, it's no big deal to me. That's not the case for me. You know, if I lose 3 or 4 grand, that's a big deal to me. I don't want to lose 3 or 4 grand in a day because I'm risk averse and I trade my own account very differently than a lot of these people out there do on YouTube, you know, with their scalping and their challenge trading. So I'm going to be able to tell you guys a lot more clearly without worrying about regulatory issues, what to do on your challenge if you're trading a challenge. Okay. So I think that's going to add an element of fun and entertainment to the stream. And I think the stream needs that because, you know, today there's a lot of entertaining things out there, and it doesn't matter if you've got the best education in the world. If you're not entertaining and doing something kind of fun, people just get bored and fall asleep. And I get that. So we'll adapt to the modern times, which is cool. So that was that. I have to figure out how to do this. So I didn't have time today. I'm too busy setting some other things up, but I might set up, you know, I'm charting on Sierra charts here. And based on the language I'm going to use, telling people about taking the trades on the challenge and so forth, I might set up the hourly chart there with my Sierra demo so I can actually place those trades on the chart so you guys can, you know, follow along with your challenges. You know, I do my trading off to the side, and the reason that I do that is regulatory reasons, personal identity theft reasons, and also I'm not interested in challenges because of tax reasons, right? You have a very beneficial split with taxes when you trade your own money. So these are all the reasons I don't trade the challenges, but I know a lot of people love the challenges and I understand the draw to them. So let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun here with the challenges. You know, I hope ultimately enough people come to this stream and just, you know, the challenges are going to see, you know, Apex Trader Funding will see, you know, 500 challenges come across with the exact same trades and they all pass and they're going to go, you guys can't follow Andy's signals anymore. That's a violation of our terms and service. That would be awesome. Then we did our job. So that's what we're going to do and have a little fun with it. And with all that said, let's go ahead now and jump into the live streaming. Oh, hey, Steve. Yeah. I think it's a good strategy. You know, like, let's have a little bit of fun with it. I'll put myself on the line. Is every call going to win? No. You know, is every day a winning day? No. But overall, I have a lot of confidence that if people hang out and follow the calls, they're going to make a lot of money. Let's take, for example, I saw this one yesterday, right? So here was the E-mini S&P 500 right here, right? I was scalping this on my own account to the downside because I had a lot of confidence that this was going to drop. I didn't want to call it as a quote unquote official trade, but now with the challenges, these are the kind of things I can point out and go, you know, if you're trading a challenge right now, I think you've got a pretty good shot here of shorting the S&P 500. So, you know, do so at your risk. I'd put the stop here. I'd target down in here. You know, if you're scalping for the challenge, probably don't focus on the long side here, focus on the short side. So, you know, I think people trading challenges are going to be able to benefit in all kinds of different ways, regardless of how they're trading. And once word gets out, you know, things are going to explode, which will be really cool, because that's the point of doing all this. Help people out, grow the brand, grow the channel, and, you know, have a little fun while we're doing it. So, okay, cool. I'm feeling a little better today, as you can probably tell. I'm still very, very tired from my cold flu thing that I've got. You know, we'll work through it. Ever since I've been trapped in this very big, tiny person in a big screen with all these big charts, I've had a cold and a flu. Cracks me up every time I see myself in front of these big charts, and I gotta laugh. Okay, so yesterday was a good day to be flat. I got your message about that, Steve. Thank you. It was a good day to be flat. We handled it well. If you recall what I said about the bonds when I finished the stream, I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but they pretty much did exactly as I said. And there was a nice long opportunity there in the afternoon. I didn't take it because I was just too tired and beat up from this cold. But those of you who aren't sick, you can take advantage of those afternoon calls when we shut down the stream. All right. So with that said, I've just made a couple of changes here. You know, we've got so many markets to focus on that the 15-minute really is very distracting for me, and it's not necessary. We don't need it. Let's just keep the stream simple for people to follow and keep it simple for me to put together the analysis. We're making all of our decisions on our hourly chart. So, you know, and I'm going to be much more vocal about what's going on, you know, in between hourly picks, so that people can take advantage of, you know, the information for their challenges. So the hourly chart is our main focus here to the right. Sometimes we'll bring up a 15, we will, but it's distracting for me to have it up. I want to have the hourly up, because the 4 hour is actually incredibly important. So this is our 4 hourly chart in the middle, and then we've got the daily here, because we always want to know where these hourly signals are triggering within, you know, the daily and the 4 hourly context. So that's really important. So I like to have the chart set up like this for now. Let's quickly, we don't need to rehash everything right now, but what I will say in terms of the overarching analysis, let's go ahead and bring the monthly, weekly, daily up. You know, the fact that stocks didn't get lower than they did yesterday, you know, tells me for now we're probably going to still push a little higher. So that's kind of what I'm coming into the day with. I do think stocks are going to try and push higher. Let's see how that goes. But just the fact that they really just didn't come off any, you know, I thought they could, you know, potentially come off more. The fact that they didn't get back to the true average, you know, these are pretty bullish at this exact moment. So I think stocks are probably going to continue to head higher. Let's go ahead and look at the ultra bonds and the treasury space, because this is probably what's going to weigh on the stock market. When you've got the bonds heading lower now as they are, that means rates are continuing to rise. So that means that stocks are going to continue to be choppy, even though they're grinding and pushing higher. So just be aware of that. We're going to use the relationship, as always, between stocks and bonds to get a very good idea of what both of them are doing. So for today, for stocks, we're still going to exercise caution. Doesn't mean that there won't be some great trades there. There might be, like that one short yesterday. From now on, I'm going to call those trades out for people taking their challenges so they can benefit. So stocks are looking bullish overall, but be careful up here, because the likelihood of them turning to the downside is very, very high because of what we're seeing with bonds. I'm looking at the yearly chart, the quarterly chart. All the higher time period charts with bonds suggest continued weakness in bonds, continued increase, upward pressure on rates, which is going, you know, when stocks and bonds are diverging like this, they can only diverge for so long before they come back and meet. The question is, are bonds going to catch up to stocks, or are stocks going to catch down to bonds? Okay, so stocks, in my opinion, are going to catch down to bonds. So that's what we're going to be keeping a very close eye on, that relationship between those two asset classes. So for today, you know, bonds have a really nice resistance pattern here at the true average. You know, it's just kind of rolling over, probably, you know, cycling back down here. So I do think bonds are going to be under pressure today. We'll check the news in just a moment. So that means that the upward bias on stocks is probably going to be limited, right? I think stocks, even though, you know, I said there's somewhat of a bullish picture on stocks because they couldn't pull back more than they did yesterday. Well, now when you've got bonds pushing lower like this and rates pushing higher, it's just going to be more and more of a gravitational effect pulling on stocks as they try and head higher. They're going to have to contend with these bonds falling lower and rates rising. So, you know, let's just keep that in mind. So bonds, you know, look good from the short side. Stocks, I think the shorts will be good. The longs, you know, I think stocks are going to be choppy, and you can approach them from both sides, shorts and longs. I don't think we're going to have a runaway market on stocks to the upside or the downside today. So we'll look to play both sides, but still carefully because you're at all-time highs now. And I do think there's going to be some violent reactions as we turn back down and catch down to bonds. But bonds, I think shorting bonds is a much, you know, safer play today. Nothing is safe, but I think it's the one where, you know, we're going to have a pretty clear, like the 10-year here is probably headed down to the extension at least. And there might be some support here. You know, the Fed might step in again after today and push the 10-year back up. If that happens, rates come down, maybe stocks stabilize a little here, and then on the next kick up in bonds, rates fall, stocks can kind of grind a little bit higher. This is sort of what I think is happening right now, which is, you know, really important to understand the context. I understand it's not sexy at all. Unfortunately, these are the realities of actually making a living doing this, is that you have to know these things. It's just not about, you know, scalping and entertaining and being sexy, although we are going to try really hard. I've got some really, really funny commercial ideas. I'm going to run some commercials. They're going to be hilarious. I can't wait. I'll share that with you, Steve. I'll stream the commercials I'm going to have a professional agency make just for fun. I think this is so much fun. Okay, so that's bonds. Let's look at gold while I grab some coffee. So, you know, gold, you've got a lot of conflicting information here on gold. Monthly pattern is down, quarterly pattern is down, weekly pattern could be temporarily up, but still hard to say. That's why the daily is choppy like this, okay? So, just have to continue to exercise caution in gold. Look at silver. So looking at silver, you got a lot of resistance up here into that crossover zone, 2260. This is kind of an exhaust here on big volume, but the fact that we broke the extension by so much, I mean, this thing's heavy. I wouldn't be surprised to see silver close on the lows, especially if bonds remain under pressure today, which is what I think they will do. And if we can get, I just looked at the dollar. I haven't seen it all day. Wow, we've got a strong dollar. We've got weak bonds, rising rates. You know, metals are going to be great shorts today. There we go. You want to pass your challenge? Just come put on 10 contracts on a metals short, and you're probably going to pass. So I think the metals are going to be the market to focus on today. These will be good clips as well for our shorts. Excited about that. Okay, thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. That helps a lot. And now the stream will get more, you know, we can do some really fun shorts with it as we start to make the calls for the challenges and guide people and things like that. I think it's going to be fun. I always, as a former, you know, how do I say, like, yeah, basically almost Division I basketball player, I love competition. I like the fact of trying to break into this, you know, niche filled with crap. It's infuriating and also very exciting. It'll be fun. All right. So that is silver. Going to be very looking from the short side today. Let's look at copper. Oh, yeah. Church basketball. Yeah. Is that the Church of Latter-day Saints? You know, Utah Latter-day Saints. That's always my first go-to. We had, where I grew up in Thousand Oaks, California, we had one of the largest Latter-day Saint communities, I think, outside of Utah, anywhere in the United States. A huge Mormon church, like right down the street from my house where I grew up. So I grew up with like a ton of Mormons. They were all like super cool and really nice people. I don't know if you're one, but they're Utah's filled with them and they're nice people. Okay, so the copper chart here, I think copper is going to continue to head lower. I mean, look at the strength of the dollar. The only thing keeping copper elevated right now is that stocks are kind of fighting, you know, lower bonds, higher rates. But today, I think, you know, markets like silver, probably platinum is going to get smoked today. So I can't wait to short that. Yeah. Okay, cool, Steve. Yeah. Yeah, the California, especially if you look at the church in Thousand Oaks, it's a massive one. And we have, yeah, I grew up with like all, because I used to work at like summer camps and stuff, and like me and then like 10 other like I'm not Mormon, but like there'd be like 10 other counselors and like almost all of them would be Mormons. So I got to know them really well. But they were all like really good. They were one of the few like religious people who actually practiced what they preached, which is why I always liked them. It wasn't like, you know, a lot of the modern religious people who are like, you know, hypocrites. The Mormons are not hypocritical, at least in my personal experience. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to platinum. So with platinum here, we've got, yeah, I mean, I think we're going to continue to come out of this pocket here. You know, as long as the dollar stays strong, which it is, and bonds continue to head lower, platinum's, you know, it would just be shocking to see platinum get back up here. Anything can happen. Let's see. But that's the prognosis as it stands right now with what we're seeing on the board. Oh yeah, did you go to the one in Thousand Oaks? Probably, right? Because I think it's the biggest one. I don't know, maybe in Southern California, except for the one, you know, down in Westwood. That one's massive. Let's look at, because, you know, Thousand Oaks, it's quite a wealthy area. So I think it was a good place to put a big church, and, you know, a lot of money going into the church over there. Okay, so let's look at crude oil here. You know, crude, the monthly, the weekly, we're still waiting, right? Keeps getting, but I'll tell you, crude's probably going to be weighed on today. I think the longs on crude have to be careful today because of the strength we're seeing in the dollar and the upward pressure on rates with bonds dropping. So I know a lot of people get confused. I'll probably have to do a special video on this. When you really understand how bonds and rates work and move, you know, they have an inverse correlation. It's actually very logical and easy to understand. But I think people tuning into the stream don't really get it when I'm talking about, you know, bonds going down, rates going up. You know, maybe I should put like a little table on the screen that sort of explains things. And again, you can only serve things on a silver platter to people so much, right? Yeah, I think it would be a good, all these videos will, when I have, you know, because right now I'm putting a lot of time and effort into just thought, how to market this and how to get out there, right? Because we could have the best streams in the world, which in my opinion, you know, these are good streams for real traders, really good streams for those who want to learn and actually like learn how to fish, learn how to trade. But if no one sees them, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, it's good for me and you, Steve, but it's a lot of work for me too, which is good. I'm happy, it's fun. But this is why I'm thinking a lot about how to get the stream out there. And then once we find the little niche, which I think the funded thing is going to be, start getting the stream out there, and then I don't have to think as much about marketing and how to get it out. Then we can really focus on all these like good video ideas. So if you want, keep track of anytime you have a good video idea or I mention something, let's keep a list, you know, because in the future, those are videos that I can just bang out quickly and put up on the channel and, you know, help people. All right, so that's crude. I'd be careful from the long side today with crude. Nat gas, just getting, I mean, this is incredible. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't check nat gas that often, but the longs are suffering. Okay, let's just finish off here with the euro because we got to go to our hourly check here in about 7 minutes. All right, so for the euro, I mean, look at this, dollar looking nice and strong. So unless some sort of wicked reversal happens, and I'm guessing This is probably, I didn't see what the Bank of Japan did last night. They had their central bank meeting. We got a bunch of central bank decisions this week, like the euro and I think the pound, the Bank of England, the European Central Bank. So BOJ probably is what is leading to this strong dollar, their decision. But I got to check that once we settle in. So guys, that's where we're at for today. That's how we make the decisions. What do we see across the board? We see stocks are going to continue to be choppy. Bonds probably looking pretty good from the short side as rates push higher. Metals definitely from the short side, especially silver, copper if stocks start to drop. So silver, platinum should be some of the prime shorting metals. Crude, be careful. I don't really want to short crude again because I ultimately think it should rise on this war, but I wouldn't be long here if rates continue to rise and the dollar continues to get strong today. So be careful on the long side for crude. We'll look at Bitcoin later. You know, we called this last week. I said Bitcoin was probably going to exit congestion to the downside, and sure enough, you know, we're off and running now with Bitcoin to the downside. So always nice to see when you make a decent call. I think Bitcoin's going to continue to head lower. Okay, that concludes the pre-market prep. Let's go look at the hourlies here, starting with ES. Anything here? I'm just going to, no, there's nothing there at all. We get NASDAQ. I'm focused on the hourly here. NASDAQ, no. Dow, no. Russell, I got to load the charts here as well because, you know, it's new data from yesterday. The Russell, right now, no. Although this could be a 4-hour exhaust up here, so be careful. Be careful going long. All right, let's look at ultra bonds, the 8 o'clock hourly close. You can see ultras have already gotten to their extension here, so there could be some support here. We'll see. You can see that's a previous area of acceptance there. You know, I'm really only interested in shorting bonds up into the true average resistance area. So I think it's, as long as they stay suppressed and rates stay, you know, pushing higher and the dollar stays stronger, the metals will be the good ones to focus on the short side. Let's look at gold, which we know is going to be choppy. So, you know, we're going to exercise a lot of caution with gold. Anything here? Let's look at silver. I'm going to blow my nose. 1 second. All right. So silver here. I mean, this is setting up for, if we were to spike up here, I don't like the out. See, this is where we're going to get just the highest quality trades. Just the hourly is not a bad short up in here, like 22.48. If we were to spike up there, we're at 43 now. But see, I don't really like what I'm seeing on the 4 hourly here yet. You do have a lot of resistance up there, so we could be seeing something like this on the 4 hour. It could punch up and then get shot back down. So silver might be a short. We'll see. Let's look at copper. I know I'm not going to take right now. Let's look at platinum. Yes, I think silver is going to set up for what platinum's doing. You see how platinum kind of exhausted and solid. We're looking at the 4 hour here. Exhausted there, consolidated the exhaust on that 4 hourly bar, and now rolling over, and the hourly trending pullback down. I think we're seeing something similar potentially with silver right now. Because the dollar, I mean, with that dollar and rates rising again, I think, you know, but silver did take a pretty big beating yesterday, right? So it's not like silver still sitting at the 22.80 level and now we have a strong dollar and strong rates. We got to be aware of that. But certainly there's just a ton of resistance on the daily up in here. So I think we can't worry too much about it. We just have to trade what we've got today, which is strong dollar, weak bonds, rising rates. I think for 8 o'clock, which is in just a minute, I'm probably going to hold off on silver. I would like this to be a little bit more extended and push, you know, maybe up in here. But then again, I want to check the news as well and see what we've got coming out. So that's, I'm not going to trade anything for myself at 8 o'clock. But, you know, I think those of you trading challenges have a very good lay of the land heading into today. And for this particular hour, I don't even see anything that I would recommend for you guys. I mean, it's not like, because I'm going to point out, you know, when I see something that I like yesterday, remember that call on the 30-year treasury? That was the same thing. I was like, I really liked it, but I just didn't want to take it myself. But that ended up being a very nice win. So these are the kinds of things I'm going to start to point out to you guys. Yeah, and Steven, sorry, Steve, my somebody else who's doing OMA, and you know, I did the video on him and put it up on the channel. I asked him, he's actually going to do like just a short video testimonial on his phone and send it to me, just saying, you know, how he's passing his challenges using OMA. So that'll be like him on his phone sending me a video, and then I'm going to put that up on the channel. So let me know if and when you pass your challenges, and if you know would do something like that. That would also be, it'd just be like 2 minutes or something, right? It would just be helpful, because then when we get people coming into the stream, like, well, how do I know I'm going to pass my challenge? Like, well, because people are already passing challenges by using this information. And then if we get people in the stream who end up making some picks and passing the challenges, you know, on our picks, then I can also ask them, like, hey, we're giving you the, you know, all the info for free. Maybe you guys can do a little video. So we can start filling the channel with like videos of people who are actually passing their challenges by following our picks. I think that's pretty good idea. What do you think? All right. Go ahead and look at okay, cool. Yeah, that would be awesome, Steve. So hopefully we'll make some good picks. You can pass those and be cool, man. Congratulations. That'd be awesome. Okay, let's I want to check the news real quick. And I'll have to change, you know, like the you know, did you see the thumbnail that I put up for today for the stream? Let me know what you think about that. I think it's pretty straightforward and kind of like, you know, hey, come pass your challenge here. If I saw that and I was like a struggling trader doing a challenge, I'd probably click. I mean, nobody else is like making bold statements like that. Everybody else is like, come watch me trade and pass my own challenges. It's like, that's fun, but I mean, it's more fun to pass your own challenges rather than watch somebody else pass challenges. And I do think that that's what makes this stream different, is that it's actionable information, not to mention people like you who actually want to go the extra mile and learn the methodology. So if God forbid I get hit by a car, you're going to continue to be able to use OMA. So, which is good. I can hand the torch to you. Yeah, maybe I can. Should I do that? Should I put the name of the prop firms in? What do you think the title should be, Steve? Just because your information is much more valuable than what I would think, because I'm not on that side of the aisle, right? So I don't know what would be catchy. Like if you saw like a title and a thumbnail. Did you like the, you said you like it. Oh, I see. Okay. So should I just put like, just let me know, write a title here in the chat if you don't mind, just kind of what you would put, and I can just copy and paste it right now into the title and change it. And it would be nice. I think one thing I'm going to try and do is I'll put like, you know, sort of like a little chalkboard or something up here in the corner that tells people, you know, hey, the 8 o'clock hour, you know, no trades, but, you know, whatever, like try and make it easy for people to follow along. We'll figure that out. I can see, maybe I can just try that real quick. Go to Google Docs. We got some time. So, because that's my thing. Like right now, this is just me and you here, Steve. We're hanging out, having fun, making money, passing challenges, which is awesome. It's good. I'm going to spend time while we're covering the markets, you know, brainstorming with you on ways to market the channel. That'll be sweet. I'm going to go to Google Docs here. Okay, let's do this stream. Stream notes, maybe. Figure that. Let me check that. I was going to check the calendar. So at 8:30, nothing major that I can see. 10, we've got Richmond Fed. Not a whole lot today, actually, for news. I think central bank meetings are coming tomorrow, Thursday. So not a lot of news today. Okay, good idea. Let me put that. 1 sec. Yeah. I think the biggest prop firms are probably just put TOPSTEP and Apex, and then for the markets, just put, you know, ES, NQ, probably even just those, like no one else. I think that's what most people trade. A good idea. I'll put that right now. Connection is good. I'm still here, right? I think so. I gotta up. I put that. Let me know what you think about that. Guess it's got a load. It's weird. I switched the chat went away, but I guess it'll come back. Anyways, it should show that I changed the title, Steve. I think there's going to be some resistance up here on silver right now, which will be interesting. But, you know, I don't really feel, based on that 4 hourly, there's just a little bit too much of a crossover here that it could potentially just push a little bit higher than I think, which is why I'm not shorting it myself, and it's why I'm not even recommending it for challenges, even though it could drop for sure. Oh, now the That came back. Okay. Oh, right. Oil as well. We get those. Yeah, exactly. So, DL oil. Do you think, oh, cool. Nice. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. You like it. Yeah. I got to put CL, but let me go back and put, and I'll put the dollar as well. Dixie. Okay. Nice. Now I've changed it. I think it's pretty good here. All right. So, uh, silver is coming off a little bit. Interesting. Nice. Yeah, all she wrote for silver. We'll see. It's not. Yeah, I would think for me, if you look at platinum here, I just think silver looks like it can bounce a little bit more. That's why I'm not recommending it, because I want to be very, very obvious about my recommendations. You know, there's nothing wishy-washy here. You know, it's going to be like, oh, if I were you, I would do this. You know, I want to be like on the 30-year yesterday here. This is one. Here's the 30-year. So yesterday on the 30-year, right there, remember that? I said, oh, there's a little flash up there. I do think there's some resistance up here. I didn't want to take it, but you know, it ended up for someone just went down. So these are the kind of trades I think a lot of people can benefit from. I think the 30 years probably headed down to its pocket there. Let's cycle through here again and look at all the different markets. Yeah, and just give me, I'm going to be right back, Steve. Just let me know if you got any questions or anything, but I'm just going to go make some more coffee because I'm, you know, really tired from this cold flu thing that I'm sort of battling here. I'll just be right back, okay? Give me like 5 or 10 minutes. All right, testing. Back. Miss anything? All right. I don't think so. Not that I know of right now. Here, I'm just gonna read your comments. I'm just kind of, my wife's gonna make the coffee for me. Some people are checking in, which is good. Little prop challenge. You're out. Doing. I'm just catching up here. Yeah, exactly. That's great about your brother. Cool, Steve. He can come in and chat and ask some questions. Happy to answer them. He's a mechanical engineer and a lawyer. Nice. Nice to have smart people around. Prop firm challenge. Okay, yeah. Well, this works in all conditions. You just have to know, you see how complex it is in terms of, seeing what's going on with the different asset correlations each day, and then structuring your trading around that gives you a much higher probability. And then as you go through the course several times and get more familiar with the concepts, you're going to come up with ways that you want to put it together. You'll see things, because, as human beings, we get locked. Like for me, I get locked into patterns that work for me. And since they work, I use them, right? I don't have time to just keep researching forever. So I use OMA the way I use it now because it works for me. I'm not a mechanical thinking guy, but your brother, he's a, mechanical engineer. I'm sure you guys could probably come up with different ways to run systems that are either fully automated or, if not fully automated, semi-automated. And when you become billionaire hedge fund managers, don't forget little old me, okay? So yeah, so you'll definitely be able to come up with a lot of stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I totally get it. You can, when you're testing things out, I totally get the prop firm model for sure. It's not a bad model at all. As the thing for me, I mean, obviously, I don't want to risk my own money either. If I can risk other people's money, that's better, right? Especially if you don't have to pay them out. I mean, the prop firms, you don't even really have like a profit split with them. But the thing that I don't like sometimes is the trailing draw rule. I don't like, and I also for me, the way I trade, like to make it worth it, I would need at least 10, 15K in draw, right? So then if I took, let's say, I think Apex's biggest challenge is, 300K, they call it, right? But you can lose like a whopping 7,000. I mean, big deal, right? And then you got to make like 20 grand. So you got to make 20 just to pass the challenge, and you only get 7 of risk, and you've got the trailing draw. And then once you hit that 20, you've got to make like 20 more. So, but you got to hit $40,000 in profit just to get like some tiny little payout. But I can understand why it makes a lot of sense for testing systems and things like that, for sure. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can do a challenge, and if you're out, you're basically losing 1 tick on bonds on 1 contract. So that's not bad. Thanks for the summary, Steve. That's perfect. Yeah. Great. That's a perfect summary. Let's see. Stocks choppy, bonds, yeah, bond shorts, metal shorts, crude caution. Get Bitcoin, exit the downside. Yeah, exactly. Great, Steve. Thanks. SI setting up for short. If up to 2248. Exactly. Not liking the 4 hour yet. Perfect. Dude, that's awesome. You can put my commentary into text. That way, anybody who's stopping by, they can just kind of see where we're at, The trailing draw stops after you're funded. Yeah, exactly. You have to be funded first, and then it stops. anyways, I can definitely see the advantages of the prop firms, which is why I want to help as many people pass them as possible. So this is why this will be a lot of fun. I mean, you're already about to pass 3 prop firms. Just you've learned a lot from the stream, taking the picks, and imagine once you really get going, and if you've got the prop firm money, you can take a lot bigger size, right? Like on some of these trades that I'm calling out, some of them are so good that you could just put 5 contracts on and just pass that challenge, in one trade. So it's not unreasonable to think that you could pass, a couple challenges per day with the right type of risk. And that's something I've also been interested in, even though I haven't done it. I am kind of interested in, okay, let's say for me, right, to make it worth it, I'd have to get 20 challenges, however many they allow you to have, like 20, right? I think you can have 20 with Apex. If I did 20 times, I guess at that point I would just do like the 50K, because the risk reward is the most, you can lose 2,500, but you got to make 3 grand. Okay, it's almost 1-to-1, right? So that's not bad. So basically 20 accounts, then, if I was to risk 20 accounts, so they usually do sales, right? So if you let's say each account costs you whatever, like just say $40, right? I think that's kind of around what they cost. So if you do 20, so that would be like $800 of risk in a day for me if I did 20 of their accounts. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do something like that where, something for the channel where I do like 10 a day or 20 a day. Oh, but you can only have 20 funded at once, right? So I'd have to see how, because I'm looking at it as well, like sure, I can trade on my own private accounts, but if there's a way to game the system and trade 20 accounts every single day, I got to think about that, but it's kind of interesting. No, I don't have a link to the website here, but it's on the screen, owingstrading.com. Yeah, well, it would have to, for me, it would have to, it's also taxes are a big deal, right? Because when you trade your own account, you've got the 60-40 tax split, which is really advantageous. When you trade Apex and you get, profits from them, you're paid as a contractor. So, the taxes are a lot higher. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we can start, once we build the channel a little bit and just, we can do drawings where we give away free accounts. We can give away, like the course that I gave to you, I'm selling that for 1,500 because, even that's, cheap for the indicators in the course, but I'll give away, tons of courses too. Like I'll give away tons. So we can just do lots and lots of drawings and give all kinds of stuff away. I think would be cool. So it's good that I know you're Mormon now, Steve, because it'll help me work on my swearing during the stream. Every time I'm about to use a swear word, I'm like, no, Steve's in the chat. I gotta behave myself. That's good. You making me a better man, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I gotta these are lots of things I'm thinking about, like in order to draw interest to the channel, have a little fun, but then I also gotta like combine it. I gotta still be, I don't want to change what works for me so well either, right? So finding that balance. Yeah, exactly. Clean it up. Good. I'm cleaning it up. Dude, we got to get the whole church in here watching, like we can get everybody just making bank in the church. That'd be sweet. All right. So it's 8:30. We don't have any major news coming out. I suppose we could do a giveaway too. I just have to figure out how I know how to structure the giveaway in terms of like the raffle. I figured out how to do that. So it would really be, how do I, let's say like I give away a 50K challenge or something, right? And yeah, put Mormon in the title. Hey, that's a good idea. You got to start a YouTube channel. And then you can put Mormon in the title and just direct people to our channel. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So like if I gave away a 50K challenge, it depends on like, if it's $40 and I got to give somebody $40 for that challenge, that's great. But well, how do I get that to them? Like, I don't want to, it takes me time to like set up a wire transfer and stuff like that. I don't want to So I got to figure out how to make it easy. So these are the things I got to work on. Because we'll do giveaways and all kinds of things. Because, you know, when I put in the title, like $1,500 course giveaway, like you're taking the course, you can see the value of the course and the methodology. They don't have a clue. They just look at them like, oh, $1,500 course giveaway. Like, oh, what's that? You know, but that's, you know, like what I said in the beginning, if we were to get 20 subscribers and get 20 thumbs up and 20 people watching for like a whole 3-4 hour stream, then for sure I would raffle off like a course, you know, to somebody, and they would be obviously getting a freaking amazing course that's you know, costs money for free. So, but people don't know what they don't know, right? So that's the hard part. So set up the prop firm account with a Gmail, and after you pass it, you can give them the Gmail and prop firm account. Okay, but I mean, don't they, in order to get payouts from the prop firm, don't they have to? It like has to be their name on the account, right? I don't know. I'll find an easy way. I think the easiest way to do it is like I can just give away cash, and then, you know, that'll be a write-off for the business. And then they can just buy the challenge, or if they end up not wanting to buy the challenge, fine, they can use it to buy lunch or whatever. But at least I give away cash value of a challenge, right? Something like that. So that could be cool. And then also to generate a little buzz, like I said, you know, maybe I'll do something fun where I run some challenges on the channel, but I got to figure out a way, like if I'm running the challenges here on the main screen and I need to execute quickly, I got to not neglect my own stuff. So it's just a lot of stuff, but it's fun to think about, and, you know, fun to, or maybe I can copy the trades from the challenge into one of my other, you know, I got different accounts, so I could hook up one of those, and I just have to see how that would work. The good news is there's lots of options with today's technology, right? But I think that would be fun to show people the passing challenges, because I mean, how you know, it's not hard to pass the challenges following my signals on the hour. Doesn't mean that every signal's right, obviously, but they're pretty accurate and they work, and people can take advantage of that. So, all right, so we've got about 25 minutes until the 9 o'clock check. So let's just quickly scroll through and see what we've got. Doesn't matter. Let me know if you can still hear me, Steve. So I think we're definitely gunning for higher levels, but it's not something I would participate in right here. You know, the short yesterday here on ES, that was a beautiful spot to think about a short, because we were in congestion here like this, and then we just kind of popped up. So I saw that very clearly as an exhaust, which is why I was interested in that short right at the extension. Those are the kind of trades we want. Like right now on ES, we're just kind of, you know, we got a little trend run going to the upside, but it's you know, nothing that I would participate in right now. So we'll wait for that. Let's go to NQ. Oh, you can now. Okay. Yeah, something happened. It got, I don't know. YouTube might be having some issues or whatever. We're probably breaking YouTube. We got 5 viewers. We're probably crushing YouTube. They can't handle the amount of our viewers. Yeah, NASDAQ. I mean, I'd be pretty shocked if we don't get back to yesterday's highs at least. So we'll just keep an eye on that and wait for the right situation to develop for a potential entry point later. Especially, you know, the stocks get going at the open, which is when I like to trade them at 9:30. So that was another thing too, like yesterday. Yeah, I might have to explain the charts every now and again, but that's kind of hard to do. I mean, as long as people know that we're just dealing with an hourly bar, you know, a 4-hourly bar, and a daily bar, they'll catch on. You know, if you're just going to come here and hang out for like 10 minutes, obviously you're not going to get it. But if you show up every day, you'll pass your challenges, you'll make money, and you'll learn some OMA, and then you'll kind of understand how I use my charts, I think. But I'll explain things. I draw things and explain things when I have time. So the NASDAQ, like yesterday, you remember I was pretty confident on the open. I said there should be a lot of resistance up above that high to take out stops and suck in some fresh longs. And that's exactly what ended up happening before that dump, right? So those are the things I can call out to the challenge traders. So generally speaking, they'll be on the right side of the market, in addition to the actual calls that we're making. You know, on the hour, when we see really good hourly setups, then I'll give people the same trades that I'm taking on my own account. Hey, you know, buy here, sell here, stop here, target here. But in between that, there's also a lot of good information that people can take advantage of. All right, let's look at the Dow. So I think, you know, NASDAQ, S&P probably going for their highs from yesterday. Dow is more dangerous. I'd be careful. I wouldn't trade the Dow or the Russell right now. I think the S&P and the NASDAQ look a little better from the long side for right now. Let's look at the thing is that I think what stocks do today depends on what bonds do. So this is the 10-year Treasury note, the daily chart. You know, overall, I think we're going to be pretty stable into this general support level for the 10-year Treasury, which means rates, because the Fed or somebody's buying down here. So it'll keep rates relatively stable for now, even though I think rates are going up a little today because the 10-year is going to drop a little bit. But I think we can clearly see that stocks want to continue to push higher, which means that, you know, rates are kind of stable for right now, right? But I think that these rates, if we start to push lower on bonds, the 10-year note here, and rates start to push higher, as long as the dollar can stay under 109 against the euro futures, you know, with the strong dollar and rising rates, then we should have some really good shorts on metals today. But as you know, the scoreboard is always changing. So it really just depends on how the day develops. Let's look at ultra bonds. So, you know, with ultra bonds here, if again, see, we can use is the tail wagging the dog or not? We can use what's happening in stocks to also, you know, pick off some good trades in bonds as well. So I think, you know, right here, this extension on the ultra bonds is very, very important on the daily. You can see it held price so far to the tick. That's what's so great about these indicators. They're there before the day starts. You know, like we know where support should be. So a lot's going to depend on rates if the ultra bond can break through that support. So we'll keep an eye on that because that's going to determine, you know, what ultimately ends up happening to stocks. I do think the metals, though, are going to provide, you know, we got to see if the dollar, because it was, I'll turn your attention to the euro here again, because here with the euro, you can see that this is the hourly chart. You see how the dollar was getting strong overnight right here on this hourly bar chart. And now we're trying to reverse back up. Well, this is the euro trying to get a little stronger against the dollar. So if the euro, this is that key level we've been watching, 109. If we get back above 109 and stabilize there, and bonds stabilize, and which means rates are stabilizing, you know, then stocks will be probably, you know, have a lot more fuel to the upside, and metals won't be as good of a short, and then maybe crude will turn back into the better long, right? So this is how you just, you know, this is how we pick off such high probability trades every day, because there's nothing fixed about, you know, oh, you know, do X, then Y, and then Z happens. How could that possibly be in trading when the variables are always changing, right? But there are key variables that drive the market, right? The debt market drives everything. So you want to look at rates, you want to look at the US dollar, and then you want to look at like the interplay between rates, the dollar, you know, stocks, bonds, and metals. And then you start to put that picture together in real time during the day. And then when you get those really good setups, they're very clear, because on OMA, you call them out and then you see the scoreboard, you know exactly where that setup is happening in relation to that intermarket correlation between stocks, bonds, rates, the dollar, etc. So that's, I know people don't like to hear that because like, oh, that sounds complicated. It's like, yeah, sorry, making a lot of money can be complicated sometimes. I mean, I apologize for the inconvenience, but that's why I'm trying to, hopefully people will just come in, and when I make the picks, they don't need to know how I'm arriving at all these picks, but if they can understand it a little bit, they'll have more confidence in the picks, and then they can use those picks to pass their challenges, which would be great. And then my goal eventually is to get banned by Apex, so that Apex eventually says, you know, too many people are following that damn stream, passing these challenges. We can't, you're not allowed to take his trades anymore, right? That'd be awesome. That's my goal, Steve. To get banned by Apex. And we will get there. All right. So let's see. Euro making a little bit of a run here. Let's do our check for 9 a.m. We got about 19 minutes until the 9 a.m. close. And if we don't see anything, we'll check in. You know, if we don't see anything on the majors, we'll check in with corn starting at 10, you know, when the ags reopen at 9:30. We can look at some Bitcoin. I gotta remember to get more active with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we will do that. Let's look at Bitcoin. Here's the Bitcoin futures. Now this weakness here is not a surprise to us. I mean, I think as long as somebody just waits for good pops to get short Bitcoin on rallies, that's not a bad strategy. I'm looking at the higher time period charts. I mean, I think Bitcoin's on its way to getting absolutely crushed. And this is what I saw when I called this out a couple of weeks ago. You know, that as soon as we had this close on the weekly, right here, this is the weekly chart. As soon as Bitcoin up here, I was still like, there's a lot of resistance up there. I wouldn't be too excited. It looked bullish, but it was still like, just like, this is kind of reminding me of what stocks look like right now, right? Everybody's excited. We're going to the moon. We're going to go to the moon forever. Oops, bang. And then when you get that, all those longs have to, you know, bail on their positions, and then the fresh shorts come in and this thing just starts accelerating. So I think this is ultimately what's going to happen to stocks up here soon, especially if rates continue to go higher as bonds continue to go lower. So we need to keep an eye on that. But with Bitcoin here, this is the weekly chart. But if we wait now during the day here today, just patiently wait for any kind of a good pop on the hourly, you know, that could be a good short for Bitcoin. So, you know, an example of that would be something like that. You know, you want it where it's heading down, and then there you see it tried to rally, got shot down. Like, those are the great shorts. That's where you want to jump in, because your stop is so well defined. But see, you got to be patient and sit through all this until the right setup presents itself. And that's what we're trying to do. So for Bitcoin for this hour, I don't see anything there I'd want to participate in. Look at Ethereum. Gotta load some data here. Ethereum getting smoked. And again, I'm sick. I'm under the weather this week, so it's going to be nice to just kind of get through the week, get this cold or whatever it is out of my system, and come back fresh. Because I feel like my brain is working at about 70% capacity. But that'll still do the job. I don't think I need more than 70% brain power to be a profitable trader. But it'll be nice to have 100% back. All right. Let's go back to... All right, it's loading data. Boom. Let's go back to ES. All right, and now this, I'm going to get in the habit, 1/4 every hour for the people that stop by and they just like, hey, Andy, I don't care about all your intermarket correlation BS, and, you know, that's all well and good. Just give me the darn pick. It's like, okay, I'm going to try and make those people happy. I'll do my best. So we'll start that every hour at 8:45 or at 1/4 till the next hour. So right now it's 8:45 a.m. We'll do the check for the upcoming 9 a.m. hourly close right now that we have the background of what's going on in the market. So what do we see? Well, we see ES potentially giving an exhaust up here at some key resistance levels at 48.92 and we do have the daily near high right up here. So it's an area of interest, you know, up here. We got to see in terms of a short, it's potentially, I will say, generally speaking, you've got to be very careful shorting against a 4 hourly that's blasting out of congestion like this. You see how the 4 hourly is in congestion? Now we're blasting out. That doesn't mean that this can't reverse back down. It can, but those big reversals are more likely to come when the 4 hourly has already been trending like this. You see how this was trending here, trending. And then when you get that last little blast up, that's where it's safer to short for the move down. That's why yesterday, I was talking about that S&P resistance into the same level, 48.94, because of where we were in context of the 4 hourly chart. Whereas right now, I see now we're in congestion pushing higher. So it's just, you got to be a little more careful. And we want to see, because do you want to short stocks if the euro gets back above 109 and holds, meaning the dollar's getting stronger, and if bonds are sucking up out of their support, meaning rates are dropping? Do you want to short stocks when the dollar's temporarily weakening and rates are temporarily dropping? No, you don't. These are the pesky little details. Oh gosh, I'm getting into the details again. I promised I wouldn't do that. A little sarcasm. We've got to have a little fun here. All right, so we'll keep an eye on this because it could be a short potentially heading into 9 o'clock. 6:30 check-in. Dollar could strengthen and stabilize. Euro 109. Yeah, exactly. Cool. I know you love the details, Steve, but that's because you got an MBA and you want to get good at this to actually be able to do it yourself, which is awesome. That's what I would like for more people. I want everybody to be able to know how to do it. Okay, so here's NQ. It's could be a short up here. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I want to see, because you have some resistance here on indices at least, but we need to see in the context of what? What's the dollar doing? What are bonds doing? This is also a great way for people to tune into the stream, not just for the picks that I'm going to give you when things look good and I give you the pick. You'll have a good edge there, but also all the times that I say, hey, be careful because of this, and this, like that's going to help people to not take, bad trades on their challenges, right? Or I could be like Patrick Wieland and just swear at everybody all day. It's insane how people, oh gosh. But that's the world we live in, huh? All right, here's the Dow. We're not going to be doing anything with the Dow at 9 o'clock. The Russell, I doubt we're going to be doing anything with the Russell. No, we're not. You can see the Russ is really pushing here on the daily chart to the far left here. This is the daily, so definitely not going to be shorting the Russ. Let's look at the 10-year, right? Because this is driving everything. So in order to make our decision here at 9 a.m., if we want to short stocks, or if we don't want to get run over and get squeezed as shorts, we got to understand what the 10-year yield is doing. So we got to look at the futures here. So right now with the 10-year, well, here you can see, I think ultimately the 10-year is going to try to push back down here to these lows. Certainly yesterday's low, which means that the 10-year is dropping, yields will push higher, which should slow the ascent of stocks. Right now, you can see the 10-year is pushing higher, so that yield is coming down. And if that yield is coming down while the dollar, the euro holds above the dollar at 109 for the euro futures, you got to be very, very careful. Andy, you're repeating things. I know, I got to repeat things so I remember what the hell is going on. Sorry, Steve, didn't mean to say hell. Sometimes I just get in the flow. I'm just messing with you. I know you don't care. All right, so the 10-year. We will check. Let's check the 30-year and the ultra bond. See, I think and this is where you get what I call scenario analysis, right? So you see how this is the 30-year treasury bond, right? Which is also very important for driving rates, which affects the stock market. So this is why I use these markets to make the decisions. If I'm going to go long or short stocks, it matters. So right here on the 30-year, see how we're trending down? All probably on the back of the Bank of Japan announcement. Yeah, so Bank of Japan was like last night in here somewhere, Europe opened. This is the hourly chart. So we're trending down for London. And now we're entering congestion to the upside on the 30-year, right? So this to me looks like silver here. So let me point silver out to you because, so do you see how silver was trending down here? And then you get this pullback on the hourly. And remember what I said? I said, yeah, what the hell? Good job, Steve. I said I wouldn't short this pullback, even though generally speaking, silver could be setting up some good shorts today. I said I wouldn't short this because you got to be careful on these, trend change. And using OMA, I've got good definitions for when my trend is changing. So right now with bonds, the reason I point that out, it's like, this is like a thread. You got to follow the thread. So with bonds, a lot's going to depend on if we get a close here above the middle of the moving average envelope. It just tells you to, be careful with that stocks short. So let's wait and see. I will let you know. Let's look at the ultra bond here. So with the ultra bond, I mean, it's a nice little pullback there on the ultra. It depends if the 10-year is going to catch down. But see, right now, the 10-year looks to me like it's more stable. So you have to ask yourself the interplay between the treasuries themselves, right? Is the 10-year going to catch down to the ultra bond and the 30-year, or is the 30-year and the ultra bond going to catch up to the 10-year, right? Because that's going to dictate rates. And right now, it looks to me like that the ultra bond and the 30-year are going to want to push a little bit higher and catch up to the 10-year. That remains to be seen, but that's what it looks like. And the reason for that is because the dollar is, the euro's trying to get above 109 against the dollar here. Let's look at the euro. And you can see how all these markets are correlated, right? So you see how I'm flipping through, those of you who are visually inclined, which most of us who trade are, pattern recognition is our thing, right? Look at the pattern here on the hourly chart. This is the hourly bar chart for anybody just joining us. It's always the hourly bar chart here. These are hourly bars. Don't worry about all my lines and dots. That's Owens market analysis. You'll pick that up over time as you're here. This is a 4-hour chart. This is the daily chart. I got all my other charts all over the place. You can focus on these. So notice how this is the euro futures contract, right? So do you see how this pattern trending down through London and boom, trying to pop? See how that looks identical almost to what we're seeing in bonds? So when you go to keep your eye on that. Now we'll switch. Boom. You see how bonds are similar? We're trying to pop, right? So this is the correlation, the interplay, the connection between these markets is really important because you can see clearly that they follow each other and influence each other. The better you understand how those influences work, the more, edge you're going to get on your side over time. So what I say all that because what I'm going to point out is that back to the euro, we go back to the euro, right? So if the euro right now, right, because this is the futures. So if this hourly bar chart goes up, the euro's getting stronger, right? If it goes down, the dollar, it's just like the Forex pair for those of you who trade euro USD. This is the same thing, except it's the futures, but some of the futures are different than the FX, right? So like, for example, on the FX, the pair, you got dollar yen, but on the yen futures, it's, the opposite. Anyways, we can talk about that another time. So here, if the euro here manages to close up in here and bonds closed up in here, right? Meaning they entered congestion up because we're trending down. If we enter congestion up, the euro against the dollar, that means the dollar is getting weaker. If that happens at the same time that the 10-year treasury, which we'll just look at here, if that also enters congestion up, like this, you see it's going for congestion entrance up. So if I have a euro that's looking a little stronger, I have potentially a 10-year that's looking a little stronger, boom, this is what takes me back to stocks. And then I look at, ES here and I say to myself, okay, is this a spot, where I want to short ES? Well, all other things being equal, I don't mind what I'm seeing here for a potential short for ES, except the fact that we're coming out of this congestion exit on the 4-hourly chart here. And again, what is the euro doing? What are bonds doing? That's how you eliminate, 50-50 trades, right? Because you can go broke taking trade. Oh, that trade looks pretty good. Well, you can lose a lot of money taking trades that look pretty good all day, right? So what I'm here to try and help you guys with, and also this is what I do for my own trading, is I try to not step in the big puddle of you know what, right? I'm trying to make the decision where once we put that trade on, you've got the edge. Doesn't mean that they always work. It just means that they're going to work more than they don't work, and you're going to make a lot more on those ones when they do work than you lose when they don't work. So that's really important. Exactly. That is how the institutions trade, Steve, and it is a holistic view of the market, and that's why it's such a consistent way to trade. And I didn't see anybody else doing this on YouTube, at least not live. I see Greg Manarino, who I like a lot, talking about this at the end of the day, and he's awesome. But this is what I've always done for myself during the day trading live, is looking at those exact correlations. And it is bringing a very unique picture to the market for day trading. It's going to help people out tremendously once they learn how to understand interplay between these markets. All right, so we got about 3 minutes left here. Let's go ahead. I don't want to miss anything. Let's check platinum, because the metals will also give us a good idea of what's going on, right? So like platinum right now, that's a big congestion move to the upside, right? So if platinum is heading higher right now, and if gold is heading higher and bonds are heading higher and the dollar is weakening, right? That means you got to be very careful shorting stocks in that environment. You say, okay, well, if I don't want to short stocks, maybe I want to go long. Well, no, you don't want to go long until you get a good pullback into support. If you want the odds on your side, this is just how you're able to stay out of, you know, subpar trades, which is really important. So kind of quickly, now I've done all the talking. So now let's go through. We got 3 minutes left. Make sure we don't miss anything. So ES, I'd like to see it up closer to yesterday's high, and the way that yesterday didn't quite sell off the way that it, you know, that I would have expected, and the way that platinum is rallying right now. The euro is about to get over 109. So I would say that this is not something I'm going to short. Doesn't mean it won't go down. It just means that I'm not going to short it, because, you know, this is tricky territory right here, and I'm just doing my best to navigate it. Here's the NASDAQ. Let's look at the Ultra Bond. Well, that certainly changes things if the Ultra Bonds close down here and keep their trend run to the downside, and if the 10-year closes weak, and if the dollar here. See, look at the euro though. You see, this is kind of the fly in the ointment, and this is why this is why platinum's rallying, because the euro is going for a pretty big congestion entrance move there to the upside. Let's look at crude. I don't want to neglect crude. See, crude's getting smoked. That's why I said be careful to the crude longs. There was a potential short there on crude at the 80 M hourly close. But again, I just got to get better at following all these things. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at here's platinum. I want to short platinum here. No. Get copper. Silver was still one of the ones. Here's copper. I think copper has a chance to be potentially supported. There's the close. Look at silver. I think silver could potentially be a short there. I got to look at bonds. It really just depends on bonds. I don't like what I'm seeing here. I don't want to short silver when platinum looks kind of strong. The ultra bonds look like they could be going into congestion here. And the euro here is really flirting with 109. You know, it's really trying. So I think overall it's just a good hour to continue to be cautious. Let's look at the euro. Sorry, the ES. Yeah, so this is, you know, This is how I do this. I think the ES, all other things being equal, I do think we're going to push higher today. We'll see how that, anything can happen, and we'll see the interplay between everything. But see, even though I've got a decent short pattern here on ES, it's really not a bad short pattern at all. The reason I'm not taking it is because of all the reasons I just outlined. And if I don't want to take that on my own account, then, I don't want to. Sometimes I'll recommend it, like yesterday when I see something and I say, okay, I'm not going to take it, but hey, this doesn't look bad. Like yesterday, you had a better overall setup for that bond short and that that ES short that I mentioned. I didn't take those, but that had a better overall setup. Whereas right now, the setup is not good. Short stocks here, even though they might pull back, but I think they're just overall. We need a little bit more. This is a lot of people are losing a lot of money right now, so there's no shame in just being patient and waiting. That was the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ and the S&P, they do have short patterns technically, Steve, but I'm not shorting them because look at the 10-year here, right? It looks like the 10-year is going to try to push higher, which means rates are coming down. It looks like the euro is going to try and push higher. So even if I short stocks and they drop, let's say 5 handles on ES, I'm not interested in that kind of trade, right? Because it's going to hit a lot of support if bonds are rallying, rates are dropping, and the dollar's getting weaker. Then that short on the indices is not going to be as powerful. Which is why I'm not going to take it. Exactly. That's exactly right, Steve. It's not about the money you make, it's about the money you don't lose. So we're just going to wait and let this market come to us. Super important. That's good. We had some people stopping by the stream, checking it out, and over time, people will they'll see the value in the details, which right now, they don't see the value in the details. All right, I'm just going to cycle through here again quietly. Well, not totally quietly, but there's ES. Gave my reasons why I don't want to short that. See, I'm going to have to get better at teaching and going over stuff and not missing trades because I kind of missed a short on crude at 8 a.m. here. This is just, we're trending down, nice pullback. You see the 4 hour. See, this is where you got this, Steve, in context. That pullback in crude there, you want to take that because you're trending down, you pull back, and look, you're doing it within the context. The 4 hourly broke its extension. You're exiting potentially congestion to the downside. It makes that pullback more valuable, right? So that's the kind of trade we want on crude oil right there. 74.20 down to 73, 60. So $600-700. That's nice per contract. Those are the trades we're looking for. And when we're patient, we get those. So crude, that's the thing. I think a lot of people are going to be caught off guard today because crude's got a pretty bearish daily pattern. I think the crude daily chart is probably going to head back down to yesterday's lows, especially the 4 hours confirming this right now. So that's why that was a good short there on that pullback. Those are the trades we're waiting for. All right. So looking at ES, but again, this is like for those that are super aggressive, right? I mean, I think that ES is going to drop a little here, right? Because you have a nice pattern, you've got some nice resistance. But what does that mean? Well, that's helping you if you're taking a challenge and you're long, might want to take profit right here, right? It doesn't mean for the whole day. I just mean right here. You got a lot of resistance. And if you're super aggressive or if you're a scalper, turn on the short side of your scalping system. And as long as this 48.90 level holds, you can be more confident in playing the short side of your system. And with all that said, I will tell you, hey, I'm shorting this, short that. I'll tell you guys, but I'm not shorting this, but there's still some really good information, even if I'm not actually taking that specific trade at this exact moment. And just the overall reason I'm really curious to see where this daily closes, because Look, this is getting a bit long in the tooth on this daily. Like that's a big push here. We had a lot of volume here on the profile here. You see this? A ton of volume coming in. Look at the daily volume profile, you guys here. I'll bring this over. This is for ES. Hang on. Let me load this for you. Because this kind of stuff is just so important. It's always on the other screens, but sometimes I got to bring it over and explain it. So look at this. Here's the ES daily volume profile. Did you see yesterday is here, and you've got, you know, it's kind of a tail up here, right? And then you got this big area of acceptance right here with the point of control in orange here. And so far you have the point of control here for today, which is the same as yesterday, right? So if we start to head lower and volume starts coming in here, you know, we've got a lot of open air down here that we can fill in, right? So, but we need to keep an eye on this right now. As long as all this volume here continues to hold, you got to be careful shorting against it. So that's, you know, when I'm looking at these things, when I'm making my own decision whether or not to take a trade for me. And, you know, I don't have time to go into all the details on every single market every single time I'm talking about it, but just, you know, rest assured that if I'm telling you to stay away from something, or I'm advising you to take something, I have good reasons either way. And with all that said, this is for educational purposes only, and all the trades are at your own discretion. But with the funding companies, since those are demo, we can say, hey, take this, don't take this. So that's what's pretty cool about the funding. But I want to help you guys. All right. So here's this is what I said about ES. This is what I expected to happen. It's just, we'll see how much it actually drops, because that's going to depend on the 10-year, dollar. Let's go back here. Cycle through. Let's look at the NASDAQ. Now, the NASDAQ, by the way, how many likes do we have here, guys? We'll get some likes here. We've got 6 likes. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. We're getting there. One view at a time. And we'll do some really cool raffles as it starts to grow and more people are in. You know, I'm going to give away a lot of stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. So the NASDAQ here coming down like ES, kind of like we said. But again, back to the volume profile here. Go ahead and look at the daily volume profile for the NASDAQ. You can see here, similar, right, to ES. So on the daily volume profile, you see, to me, this is what I'm seeing on the, this is why I'm careful to short right here. And we'll see, you guys can go back and look at my previous live streams. I mean, Steve, you've been here for every single one. I don't know the hit rate because it's hard to keep track of when you're analyzing, but overall, you know, it's pretty freaking accurate. So, well, the trades we take speak for themselves, but just the actual analysis is also very accurate, but that's hard to quantify. But I say that because I'm about to point something out. So on the NASDAQ here, do you see how all this volume here, right? You see how that's bigger? That profile is sticking out more than that here. What does this tell us? Any of you know? You guys want to put it in the chat? What does this tell us? That this is more volume than this. It tells us that we're accepting higher prices, right? So, and right now we're still above these previously higher acceptance prices. That's why you got to be careful shorting against that. That doesn't mean that we're not going to break to the downside. We might. And if we do, that's going to tell us something, right? But I think, you know, I think you got to be careful shorting stocks here. I also think you got to be very careful longing stocks here. And that's why I'm very careful. Yeah, exactly, Steve. Acceptance. That's why we got to be careful about that. So that's the NASDAQ. Let's go back now to, here's the NASDAQ intraday hourly chart. We have time now to go into some more detail on some of the volume profiles for bonds. a little bit of a 10 years. I think it's going to push a little higher for now. Let's look at the ultra bond, since that's the one I like to trade anyways. Let's look at the volume profile for the ultra bond. Bring it up for you guys here. So here's the ultra bond daily volume profile. It's interesting. We're putting in some, so this is what you got to watch now, right? Because you see how we're putting in this volume here, this acceptance area, right at the OMA extension, right? So if more and more volume continues to come in, but that holds, you know, what is that telling you? Well, it's telling you somebody's absorbing selling there, right? Which means the support is going to be strong, potentially. So we need to wait and see how that works out. This is where the volume profile can give good information. All right, so let's go back. Gold. I think silver could be a good short now, potentially. I'm still holding off right now, but bonds are dropping and the dollar's back down. 0890. I don't think it's a bad short on silver, but just kind of looking at it, it's not really, I don't have anything major to lean against. I like taking trades where I've got something to lean against. So that's probably why I won't take that. Steve, what do you think about the banner at the top of the stream? I think it's good, right? Because it tells people, you know, hey, if you're busy or you got other things to do, just come back and check in and see if there's any trades. I think that makes good sense. Oh, we got stock market opening here soon too, which is fantastic. That'll be fun. Okay, so crude oil is asking, what is OMA telling us about a short or long for oil at its current level? Well, OMA flagged a really good short on crude at 8 a.m. here. This was a good short on crude at 8 a.m. this morning. You can see the hourly is in a nice downtrend for crude oil. And if I look at the daily chart here, you know, you actually have a pretty strong, this is the daily chart to the far left. You got a strong resistance pocket at 74, 80, 75. And I mean, I think we're going to at least test down into 73.20, maybe 73. That's the area we need to keep an eye on. So if there's going to be support down there, then we're going to have to see the hourly confirm that level. So basically, one level you should keep eye on, crude oil trader, is that the key support level from yesterday was 73. And you've got quite a lot of OMA support there. You got the weekly dot zone, which is super important. Here you got the live pocket on the daily. You got a bullish monthly. So, but the key level, I wouldn't just buy it blindly, but you do have monthly VWAP. You know, the volume weighted average price for crude oil is right at 73.10. So keep a really close eye on that level, 73.10. You know, all other things being equal, you know, anything below that level should probably suck price back above it. So, but I'll be giving you more insights on crude oil as we watch it develop. The most important thing for crude today is right now we have a strong dollar and bonds are dropping. So if the bonds continue to drop and the dollar continues to get strong, then that will keep crude under pressure. So I'd feel a lot more comfortable buying crude oil into 72.80 if the dollar was stable against the euro and the bonds were stable in their support levels. My pleasure. Hope that helps. Yeah, definitely. When you start putting all this analysis together, it can give you some good spots, crude oil trader, to load up. All right, let's look at, I want to look, just the stock market's going to open here in 13 minutes. So we want to see if there's any potential decent trades at the open. Yesterday, remember, it jacked up at the open and went through the highs. I kind of have a feeling it's going to do something similar today, you know, because the 4 hour, I mean, so far, look at the 4 hour here on ES. Here, look at all that support. You know, so I think it's going to want to jump up there again. So let's see. If that was the case, we'd ask ourselves, okay, you know, where is there some support? Like, okay, it depends. They're going to play their games, right? Because they got to get the fuel. So like yesterday, they jacked it up through the pre-market highs to suck in the longs to slam it down at the open, remember? We talked about that. And today we got to ask ourselves, looking at the charts, using OMA, where are they likely, what do they need to do to trap traders, right? So for ES, you know, looking at this, I would say they would potentially want to drive it below yesterday's low. Because the charts still look overall, I think we want to push a little higher, you know, I really do, based on the volume profile from yesterday, based on the price action so far today. It looks to me, we'll see. If we start to break through yesterday's lows and really accelerate, fine. But that would certainly be the spot to trap people, would be to drive price down below the lows at the open, suck in a bunch of shorts, and then rip it back the other way. So yesterday they did the opposite. They jerked it up to the, you know, through yesterday's, the pre-market highs to slam it back to the downside. So I think that's... All right, so that's what we want to keep an eye on at the open. And in order to get a good sense, you know, we'll just quickly check on bonds. See, where I'm exercising caution with the bonds right now because we're right at this key level here. We got to see what's going to happen with that extension on OMA. Because if that holds and bonds rally, you know, stocks have held up pretty good so far. So if this level on bonds holds and we rally on bonds, at least temporarily, and that's going to drop rates. And if that happens while the euro gets it back above 109, I think that's your fuel right there to push stocks higher and also be a support for crude oil down into 72.80, 73. We got to keep an eye on what these things are doing. So this is the key level here for ultra bonds. And if we look at the euro again, you see we're at 108.92 here. And we're also at the daily extension for the euro here. So we're at these key levels. And you guys know what I like to do. You know, in the moments when things are clear, they're clear. But otherwise, I like to wait and I have my idea about what's happening, but then I want to wait and let the market tell me, okay, hey, this is happening now. This is when you want to trade it. And right now I'm just waiting. You know, we got all day, right? So we're just waiting for the market set up and tell us. So right now I need to see, is the euro going to hold this daily support level against the dollar? Because we're also at that critical support level with the 30-year treasury bond and the ultra bond. Are those levels going to hold? If they do, dollar starts backing off, meaning euro gets stronger, rates start pushing higher, bonds push higher, rates drop, and stocks have a floor underneath them. You know, that will be the fuel to the upside. For today, I'm still overly bearish overall, but we'll have to see if we're actually done with that. We'll see when we're done with the actual push to the upside, which I don't think we are today yet. But a lot of it's going to be determined on what we see. There you go. You see stocks are dropping nicely. But see, we're only down, 3-4 points here. And we'll see if we end up going a lot lower. I don't know. I think there's a lot of support down here. So we're going to get the open here in about 8 minutes. See if there's anything we're going to do. Look at the NASDAQ. Because I'll give you guys tips too, at the open. I'll be like, okay, if you want to take some more risk and sort of not gamble, but okay, if you put a gun to my head, which direction would I pick? If I'm really not sure, I'll just say I'm not sure. But if I'm like, I'd probably pick this direction, I would probably say 6 or 7 times out of 10, I'll be, more or less right on that pick. So if those are things you guys want to trade, then I want you to trade them. And we will get the trading on the charts set up. Like I said earlier in the stream, I'll either do that with a challenge, or I'll just set the Sierra charts on a demo so I can trade my own account, but I'll put the same exact trades on the demo Sierra chart in front of you. You can follow along with your challenge. We'll figure all that stuff out, but it would be more visual. But I got to see how that's going to affect things when I'm switching back and forth between different markets. This stream, it takes time to get all this together and get it just the right way so everything looks cool, and it's kind of a work in progress. We'll get there. Okay. So it's going to be a choppy open. We know that. How do we know that? We're right at the weekly volume weighted average price for the NASDAQ. That tends to be a choppy area. Where were we yesterday when I was pretty sure we were going to go higher? Yeah, so yesterday at the open, we were also pretty close to weekly VWAP. And that's when we pushed it up and through the highs and then got slammed. See what happens today. So far, the euro against the dollar. All right, so the dollar's getting a little stronger now here temporarily. Means I think this could be the fuel for stocks to drop at the open. This is what I was wondering. Here's ultra bonds are, trying to drop here. If that's the case, I mean, if the dollar's going to get stronger. So this is what we want, guys. This is the kind of divergence we want. So let's now see if the dollar is dropping, the euro's dropping, the dollar's getting stronger, bonds are dropping, rates are going up. Silver right now, we need to all get on our hands and knees and pray that silver tries to diverge and push higher, because if silver tries to diverge and push higher, it's going to set up a great short if the dollar gets strong and bonds get weak with rates going up. So those are the kind of trades that I like to see. So let's wait and see if that develops. Because right now the euro futures is at 108.90 and the ultras are at 125.25. So here you can see the ultras are trying to break through the extension now, so that's definitely a big deal in a way on stocks. See, now we're getting a little bit more confirmation. So I think stocks, if we see an attempt to rally at the open, I think that's something that should probably be sold into, because the dollar's getting stronger and bonds are dropping, so rates are lifting. So I think that this hourly pattern here is in a good spot. Let's go look at the NQ, because that's going to be the most rate sensitive here. So basically, I would pick my level to short on the NQ for the open would be the near high. I might set an order here. I'll let you know. It's going to be basically right up in here at like 17.5, 33 ish, right in there. 17.5, 40. Because I don't think it's going to be able to get all the way back. And I'm not saying we're going to go down the whole day. It just looks like with the dollar getting stronger now and bonds heading lower, that means rates are upticking. It looks like that these hourly patterns on these stocks that we saw from 9 a.m. You see, these flash patterns are valid still, because we still have a half more hour, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just look quickly and see. Got 3 minutes. Let's just see what this 15-minute chart telling us on the NASDAQ. This is one I'm going to watch. I'm just going to bring up. So guys, that's my sort of recommendation, is look, if they can try and jack it back up, let's keep an eye. I'm not going to set an order there, but I want to see how it reacts to that 17.5 30 level. So just go back to the hourly. All right, we having fun yet? Having fun. Chocolate helped me have a bit more fun. So let's see. Bonds, yeah, bonds are dropping nicely. So I think definitely don't want to be long here heading into the open, is what I would say. I think the short pattern is valid. I might just short, I'll let you know. Bonds are $23.0887, yeah. So we've got about 30 seconds. I'll leave it up to you guys how you want to play it, but I'm going to be watching very carefully. And I do like the short side based on bonds and the dollar. All right, we got 5 seconds. Watching you guys. So personally, I'm short from 490. I'm going to try and hold it down to 400 if possible. Or 440. We'll see. A lot of support down there, so. I'm just kind of holding on, see if we can get a little bit of a break to the downside. Dollar's looking pretty strong. Bonds are strong, so, but you know, stocks can fight it longer than you think. See if we can just get a break and a snap down there. Still holding short for now. And I'm taking it off here. Could drop more, but I only had one contract on. Made 700. It was a good trade. I will figure out a way to get it for you guys on the screen, but like on these opening trades, I've got to make the decision so fast. But I think I gave you guys some pretty good clues, right? I said, you tell me, Steve, but I said heading into the open, you know, yeah, NASDAQ short pattern is valid because we now had confirmation that bonds were dropping and the dollar was getting stronger. So that makes sense. But things like that, you know, people are going to have to use their own judgment on how to do that because it's so volatile in the open. It happens so fast. You know, I can only tell you, you know, what's going on. But hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of that. I closed mine, you know, could be a little early. It was just, you know, such a nice trade, and sometimes these things can get a little wild. So, but if you're still short, you're looking good. My original target was, you know, down there around certainly 420, 400. But, you know, these things can reverse fast. So not a bad idea sometimes to take some profit. So add some marketing to our thing here. Oh, here, I gotta go with this. All right. Getting back to this here. So probably have to turn this channel into a little hedge fund later, you guys. All 5 or 6 of us that end up watching it. See, these are the opportunities you wait for, right? Like that was, you know, the trade was really clear right there. But it's a stock market open, right? It's happening on the half hour, not the hour. So that's why, you know, I just got to point you guys in the right direction, and hopefully you make the right decisions. Nice, Steve. I'm glad you took advantage of it. Good job, my man. I love people like Steve in the chat. It's like, well, you didn't tell me exactly what to, like, dude, I can't spell it out more. I'm really happy you did that, Steve. Because if you can do it, that means other people in the chat can hang out and make money too. And they can. Crude oil, I'm sure you cleaned up on that trade. I mean, you're pretty used to taking my picks. Let's see here. I'll check if we have news. All right, guys. So that was a good trade at the open. Well done. You see, that's the thing too, right? Like with these other channels, they're like, oh, I'm up $4,000. It's like, yeah, but you're trading, you know, 10 or 15 contracts. So the 675 I just made was on one contract. Steve, probably the same for you, right? What'd you make on 2 contracts or 1 contract? Like, if I traded a challenge account with, or like a funded account with 10 contracts right there, you know, I'd be up almost $7,000, right? So you see, the marketing can be a bit misleading from people at times. Yeah, no, I want you to say your results, Steve. That's huge. That gives credibility to what we're doing in the stream for sure. No, like let's, hey, I'm gonna start bragging a little bit more. I'm not a bragger either, but you got to come out here on YouTube and be like, that was a solid trade. So now this is what I think they're going to do today. If you recall what I said I think they're going to go for the lows first and then suck it back up, right? And that's why I went short, because I had a feeling we were going to go down to those lows. Especially with the bonds getting, you know, bonds are now breaking support and the dollar is looking nice and strong. So, not something I would buy down here. Absolutely not. Not with the weak bonds, rising rates, and strong dollar right now. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I'll try and be, you know, as I stream more, I'm gonna get more like, you know, I just don't want to be like, you know, short. Like in the end, it's like you guys got to still make your own decisions, you know. So like, Steve, you made the decision to. I said like, okay, I'm going short here, and you guys knew I was short by the time it even pulled back. It was very close to my entry, so anybody who wanted to participate had more than enough time to get in. But yeah, I'll be. I agree. I'll be more. You know, as I learn to stream more, right? I'm kind of new at this, but I'll be more explicit or more clear in my directions. All right. So let's check. Steve, you said maybe news at 10. If there is, I don't think it was major, but I'm checking here. Oh, we got consumer confidence, but that's the EU consumer confidence. We got Richmond Fed manufacturing. It says that's a low level event, so I don't think much news at 10 actually today. Unless, are you seeing something that I'm not seeing, Steve? And crude oil trader, I believe you have the API crude oil stock change today, which could move the market later this afternoon. So crude oil trader, be aware of that. I don't know how much I think that API crude oil stock change, I'm not sure if that's the actual, you know, the crude number, because the crude number is usually on Wednesdays. So maybe this is some other crude oil stock number. I don't follow the crude oil numbers, but just be aware of that. That was awesome. All right. Rock and roll, you guys. All right, so we gotta, we'll put some of these into some shorts, get them out there. PMI manufacturing, huh? I don't see that, but strange. Where are you seeing that, Steve? What calendar? I'm looking at the dailyfx.com calendar, but maybe they're just not showing it. We should do a short. We'll put a short all over YouTube. Hello, I'm just a little man inside of a very big screen with big charts behind me. Can't get out of here. When I do that, I watch myself on the replay screen. It just cracks me up. All right, let's turn on some lights here in a sec, so green screen looks a little bit better. Hey, crude oil trader, do you like the setup with me being inside the screen? I don't know if you're still here, but if you do, let me know. Steve, you told me you like it a lot better, right? It looks like a bit more clean. I think it looks pretty cool. Oh, you like it, crude oil trader? Okay, cool. Thanks. I know you're at work too, so if you you know, you got stuff to do, no worries, but glad you're here. Probably passing more challenges, kicking more butt. Proud of you, my man. Steve, one day we'll have when you guys get really good at trading, you guys can come on and do guest trading. So like Crude Oil Trader, he's an amazing trader, and when he uses OMA, he just turns and burns. So sometimes in the future when we grow the channel, he'll come on as like a guest trader, only trading crude oil, and you're gonna see this guy just the way he trades crude oil is absolutely incredible. And then Steve, once you get comfortable, you get a favorite market, you can like be a guest on the channel and stream and trade. I'm not gonna lie, trading publicly is not as easy as it looks, but for those of you who want to do it in the future, when you're a good trader, then we'll put you on the platform, and we'll have a lot of fun with that, like guest trading spots. Except the difference between us and TOPSTEP is that we actually make money as opposed to TOPSTEP TV. I got nothing against TOPSTEP, but when I tune into their channel, it's just kind of like, unless I'm missing something, I'm not talking shit. It's just that they don't really, I'm not seeing something like this where it's like real hardcore analysis and actionable stuff. I don't know. You tell me, Steve, if you've seen it, or Crude Oil, if you've seen TOPSTEP TV. Yeah, Steve, exactly. It's pointless. I think so too. I mean, I guess it's entertainment, right? It's kind of like a CNN or Jim Cramer show, which is useless for making money. But if you have it on in the background while you're like, vacuuming your house or whatever, then I guess it's good for that. All right, so yeah, they got a thing going back and forth. TOPSTEP and Patrick Whelan, he signed with Apex, so then he's talking shit about TOPSTEP, and now TOPSTEP is talking shit about Patrick and Apex. I think it's funny. It's like, why not? We got a reality TV show world here on the YouTube trading. Okay, so I don't know where you're seeing that PMI, Steve. Can you just tell me where do you see that PMI? Because I'm not seeing it. And I want to get ready for the 10 o'clock check here. So while you look at that, I'm going to prepare for the 10 o'clock check. Okay, so we always want to know. Okay, bonds are dropping nicely still. Just take a look at the Ultra. You guys see now how like keying in, especially when you use OMA, right? And you're keying into like, what are bonds doing? What's the dollar doing? How's it all? That little extra edge it gives you is just massive. We'll start a hedge fund, you guys. I'll just stand here and call it the trades, and Crude Oil Trader and Steve, you guys just throw them on and trade my picks. Be fantastic. We'll have the first hedge fund on YouTube. There's a good idea for marketing. Hey guys, we're trading $10 million live. Come watch us. That'd be pretty cool. Well, if it keeps going like this, I'll go raise 10 million bucks and we'll do it. Like really, I will. Okay. Yeah. Yep. It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. That's for sure. All right. So UB, we got to see. That kind of rhymed, right? We can UB, we got to see. Are we going to go lower? Are we sucking up here? That remains to be seen. We got some big volume now coming in here on the hourly. You see that? I'm going to just look at the hourly volume profile here. You see a lot of stuff goes into each one of these picks. Here's the hourly volume profile. Yeah, you're getting some volume down there at the lows. So this, let's see if this is the low for bonds today, which it could be. We don't know. But if it's the low for bonds today, then we could see stocks potentially catapult higher, especially if the dollar starts to rebound, right? Right now, the dollar's not rebounding. I think I like silver because I said something about silver. Oh yeah, I think I like this here. So silver here. See that little flash pattern? And it took out those highs. I think silver is the next, potentially, depending on where it closes. Silver's, this is what I was kind of waiting for here with silver, is I was waiting for this flash pattern up here, because the dollar is nice and strong. Bonds, let's look at the 10-year. We still got, well, we got 15 minutes, we're good. And if the hourly here closes way down here and we miss it, we miss it. But if the hourly closes up in here somewhere, you know, silver might not be a bad short. We're in the live 4-hour pocket up here. Only problem is we're kind of going against a 4-hour trend run to the upside, which, you know, got to be careful there. But we did tag, this is what I've been waiting. No, this could be pretty good. We did tag the, see the daily chart here on silver, that high connector right at the near high? That's what we went up and tagged right there. So that's a lot of nice resistance up in there. And you do have a nice tail on the volume profile. You see this, you guys? Nice tail. Those tails tend to lead to, if you pick them in the right spot, they can lead to this move back down. Crypto face trade. As a guy who trades millions. That's funny. No, I haven't seen that. I wonder if it's real. He's trading millions with a ski mask on. Like, I don't know. If I had like 500 grand to burn, which I don't, but if I did, I would definitely just be me on the stream, like trading 500K. I wouldn't be like stupid with it, but I wouldn't wear a ski mask. But maybe that's his thing, you know? All right, let me, silver is dropping here nicely. That is because bonds are weak, rates are higher, dollar is also, oh, dollar's getting even stronger against the euro here, yeah. So stocks, we definitely don't want to long this at all. We already took a nice little chunk there out of stocks, which is great. Let's look at the 10-year. Yeah, 10-year looks like it's got room to go to the downside. So I think that's looking good for potential silver short, depending where silver closes. ZB, you know, the tough part about ZB is that you're at the extension here, but that could break. That 10-year looks like it has room to run. Let's look at gold. Oh, I got to turn on these lights. Hang on. One sec. All right. That's a little better. Oh, it'll get better. I got a delay on this on the screen. That'll help. Okay. So yeah, gold's heading lower. That's not a surprise. Yeah, the brightest light in Sweden. Exactly. Oh man, Sweden is just, the weather is not good. All right, let's check silver again, because I think silver is kind of my, yeah, it's already dropping. I mean, I think it's, silver looks freaking tempting. I must admit, very tempting. I just have to make a decision here, because I personally, you got to be careful shorting against that 4-hour, but we've gone up into that pocket now. When is this 4-hour going to close? 6. I think it's going to close momentarily. Just give me a second here. So that's 38. That closed basically. Trying to see here. 37 right there. Yeah, so we're gonna get a 4-hourly close here. Yeah, look at silver just tanking. This is kind of what I was seeing. So dollar is at, but I gotta, you know, that's what I gotta know too. If that PMI is coming out, you gotta be careful on those announcements. So we're not here to gamble. Steve, did you tell me where the PMI was that you saw? Because I'm not seeing that. Let me check another calendar. Daily stock market calendar. Let me check this, you guys. US economic calendar from Market Watch. Let me check this. This is a better calendar. I've always used the daily FX calendar. It's always worked for me, but it didn't have PMI on there today. So what are we today? We're the 23rd. Yeah, I don't see anything on the Market Watch calendar. Tomorrow I see S&P Flash PMI. So I see that for Wednesday, the 24th. I see a PMI, Steve. I don't see it for today. But let me know what you think. Look at copper. So silver is kind of my top pick, I think. But I got to know about that PMI issue. Copper is a mess right now. I think it could be pulled up by stocks. Okay, so platinum is dropping nicely. But kind of sucking up here. I don't want to take platinum. Crude is still hanging around 74.50 crude oil. So you don't have a play on crude right now, my friend, that I can see. Dollar is nice and strong against the euro, 0.876. So if this continues with a dollar crude oil trader, look out for just a little less safe on the support levels for crude. Now, of course, something can happen in the Middle East, crude takes off, whatever. But just know you got a strong dollar, which is going to weigh on crude. And it's getting pretty strong here, especially if bonds keep heading lower, which they look like they are. Yeah, that means rates are picking up. So I think silver is going to catch down. So I'm going to be interested in silver here. You know, right into about this level here. Ish. 2247. I just don't have a great level to lean against. But we have a lot of other good reasons. I'm not calling it out yet. It's not a trade I'm in. I'm just kind of waiting. It's one that I'm heavily interested in. Let's look at gold. Gold's a mess. And look at Bitcoin. I'm going to start trading Bitcoin on stream too. Nothing I see that I like there. So I think the top thing to watch at least is silver for a potential short. Let me just look at something here. Checking something. Yeah, the only risk with silver that I see, and this is kind of a big risk, which is why I'm not going to do it, is because we are actually outside the monthly value area to the downside. And this is really important. You've got the weekly VWAP right now underneath us, even though you're inside the monthly value area low. I'm not saying that silver is not going to drop, because certainly with a strong dollar like this and bonds that are weak, it just doesn't look right. It looks like we could punch, for some reason, it looks on the higher time period chart like we could punch higher. I'm seeing down, 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 but I don't want to take a chance because I just can't, you know, I gotta, I'll show you the NQ, for example, that we took. So with NQ, and then we'll look at the charts again. But you see with NQ, this was a better short. See here, this is the hourly. We're way outside of the monthly value area high here, which is that's you don't want a long up here. You want a short up here. So silver is the opposite. you're down below the monthly area low, value area low, you got to be careful shorting down there because it's more likely to revert back to the mean. And silver here, to show you guys. This daily chart here, right? We had a big flush in silver yesterday. And even though we broke the extension, you know, that big flush, I mean, I don't trust a short in this area. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I'm getting too many conflicting reasons. So it's very, I'm looking at the dollar. I'm looking at bonds. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look like a bad short for silver. But then I'm looking at the silver daily. We're going against the 4-hour chart. We're below the monthly value area low, and weekly VWAP is underneath us. So even if silver drops here, I'm not going to feel like I missed out on a call. You know, for those of you who are, you know, I guess don't mind being way more on the aggressive side, you know, do what you want. I'm not gonna, this is not even like a halfway recommendation, because I just see, I see some really good parts of the trade, but I also see too many red flags. That's how I feel about silver. It'd be like Forrest Gump. See, and we don't have to force things, right? The good ones, that's what I'm constantly remembering or reminding myself of, especially on stream. You feel like you always want to call something, but if you just wait, like when the good ones come, like the NASDAQ, they just kind of come and then boom, like it's just like, there it is, right? It's like whoomp, whoomp, there it is. You guys remember that song? I don't know who that was. I said Forrest Gump earlier because it's like that part of the movie was like, and that's all I have to say about that. When I get done ranting about stuff, I'll be like, oh dude, I forgot something cool after our trade. Let me test it. Are you guys ready? After our winning trade? You guys digging it? I was digging it. What about this one? Oh God, we're gonna get more gifts like that for the stream. Those are hilarious. Yeah, stocks, I agree with you, Steve. Stocks could draw. We got 2 minutes, but there's no, I can see the PMI, so I don't see the PMI there. But stocks actually have, they're kind of mixed here. I think they definitely could drop, but it's not really, it's a little too choppy here. I want to see where bonds close, because just because bonds are weak, you see how here's the ultra bond. Let's watch this, because if this closes, this, I think there could be, if we hold that extension right there, you know, we could suck back up on bonds temporarily, and the dollar could stabilize, the euro could get stronger, and then stocks could push higher just to piss everybody off. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing too much of a possibility here for an unexpected rebound in bonds and a little bit of a reprieve in dollar strength, so euro stronger. See, it's sucking up now heading into the close, and I think this is what I'm seeing on silver, where I'm like, meh, I just don't know. Yeah, so I think I'm not going to go long here, but look at, I would be very careful shorting stocks, because I think bonds have the potential to, now I'm not always right, but looking at the charts, bonds have the potential to rise here, because look at this extension, Steve, on the hourly. Look at this flash. Look at the 4-hourly high connector turning point. So just because you broke the extension on the daily, you're still in the pocket. We could see some, I think we could see something like this. The 4-hour pulls back a little and then sets up the dump for the end of the day. I think we might see something like, because remember, things don't go straight down. So I think what I'm seeing now is potential. Yeah, I see that potential for bonds to rally, rates to back off, the dollar maybe to take a little break, the euro get a little stronger, and stocks, you know, potentially try and push higher on the back of that. Now, I don't want to go long stocks, but I certainly wouldn't short them, and that's why. And we'll see. This all might be totally wrong, and bonds might fall through the floor, and rates go higher. But the evidence, all we can do is use the evidence, right? So the evidence is showing us, you know, be careful shorting stocks here. We already got what we wanted out of stocks when the bonds were dropping like this and rates were rising and the dollar was getting stronger. You know, would I get long the bonds here? I mean, no, but I would be lying if I said it's not a little bit tempting. Somebody who's super aggressive could get long bonds. But the dollar is still a little too... Yeah, I would just, this hour, there's too much that's just not super clear. So I think, you know, these are tricky market conditions, guys. We're handling them really well. We're kind of like stepping in, we're sniping, getting our cash and jumping out, right? So I think just continue to exercise caution and continue to grow your account nice and slowly. Steven, you'll pass you're probably close to passing those other two challenges, right? So when you pass those, and you too, crude oil, shoot me that the video of you guys like just saying whatever you want to say, and I'll post them on the channel. So here you can see the NQ's got a really nice 4-hour resistance pattern. That's pretty interesting right there. That's not a bad resistance pattern. So Steve, you know, you know OMA too, so you take whatever you feel comfortable with. You know, you've got a decent resistance pattern there on 4-hourly NASDAQ. You worry about UB following stuff. Yeah, exactly. I think anything can happen. Stocks might drop through the floor here. Of course, it's possible. But I think if anything's likely, you know, stocks stabilize and UB catches up to stocks. But let's see. Stocks are tricky up here. You know, they're really tricky. It's just, it's hard to say right now with stocks. We got a nice piece of the open there, but otherwise it's kind of hard to say what stocks are going to do. Here is the Dow. Look at you know, generally I think it's too like the way I read the markets and the correlations and OMA obviously, but then you start to put like OMA, which for me is #1, and then, you know, the market correlations, the volume profile, you know, just all these little things. It's like usually if I don't feel good about something, it's better just to kind of stay away from it, right? Like silver is at 22.50 right now. See, and sure, silver might drop, but I just thought the risk is that it's going to push higher. Look, you wouldn't want to be short silver here. That's why you know, it's really good to put all the pieces together. Okay, so let's look. And if silver's rallying, then bonds are probably going to rally. Because copper's holding up well also. So here's your ultra bonds. Yeah, I think the safest unclear trade of the section right now is probably, I think the overall pressure on bonds, like for me, I'm going to wait maybe to get short bonds later, because I think bonds are going to close. I think bonds are going to close down near their lows. So I think it's a much safer bet. I don't like going against this daily energy on bonds, because especially this particular pattern here, you know, I think bonds are I think the ultra is gonna close down here somewhere. So I hope this causes a bounce, but I hope it causes a bounce so I can get short. Yeah, exactly. SI was tempting yesterday, but Steve, you seem to be doing well. You know, you're listening to me. Well, you know, you're taking my analysis to heart, and you seem to be doing a really good job of listening and really understanding what I'm saying, and kind of not you're really not taking too many, you're not taking many horrible trades, right? I mean, that's what it sounds like, which is fantastic. That's the goal. Yeah, I think bonds don't buy them here, even though they might bounce. I think it's better just hope that they do bounce and they set up a short. Especially too the way the NASDAQ looks. I mean, that's a pretty potentially strong 4-hour resistance pattern. Yeah, exactly. We're in congestion for sure. So, and I think, you know, we'll see which way it exits, but for today, I think you got to be in favor of UB from the short side, which means, look, the good news is you never know how this day is going to unfold, because if the ultra bonds or the bonds in general, if they keep dropping here, let's say, because this is a really important thing, Steve. So with the ultra bonds, and for you too, crude oil, for the ultra bonds, right? I think they're going to rally here, and I just want to wait to try and short them because I don't want to go against the daily energy. I just don't. It's not smart to do that. The odds are not on your side. So if this rallies and sets up a short later for ultra bonds, if silver is super extended at that point to the upside, which it looks like it's going for right now, and we got a dollar around, you know, 109 or lower on the euro futures, and then we see bonds are about to resume lower rates, that you know, we want silver to get as overextended as possible so we can, you know, catch back down. So we just wait for these trades. It's kind of like the odd duck. You can find the market, the odd duck, that's just not where it should be. Like, okay, you know, silver, you're way too high right now. Get back in line. You know, that's the short. You can see when they're out of line, and then boom. And obviously there are like algos at big institutions, I mean, running this type of stuff. So they're going to bring shit back in line. And when we can see that ahead of time, fucking take advantage, you know? Exactly. Sesame Street. Good job, Steve. We'll keep it simple. One of these things are not like the others. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, on the next, you know, advertisement for the stream, I'll put like Big Bird or something. That'll probably, people go, oh, look, it's Big Bird. I want to go check that out. Okay, let's take a look here. So, yep. So I think it's definitely something I'm going to watch for the rest of the day. I'll probably close the stream down when you're going to work, Steve. So when are you heading out the door? Because I'm still sick, and we've had a good day so far, and I want to focus on some marketing stuff while I still have some energy. I've got some really good ideas, you guys, crude oil and Steve. I was working on this video, and I think we'll probably have to have a professional company do it. But basically, it's sort of like a funny advertising campaign. With a hot chick, but that's just to get attention. Because most of our demographic is between 18 and 35 males with high testosterone. But it's with a hot chick, but it's funny. It's going to be really funny, and it's like a play on how these you know, these fake trading gurus with their fake signal services. You know how like so many people have been scammed by these people. 20 minutes, okay, cool. Tell me what you think about this, Steve. So many people have been scammed by these fake guru people, right? So I want to make some advertising for OT that is funny and plays on that. As a Mormon, you might not appreciate the, you know, the girl at the beach in the bikini, but you know, I think I got to go with it anyways. But the script, I'm still working on the script. Here, let me see if what was my script? Gotta find the script. The script was basically like, you know, showing like an influencer, like a good-looking influencer girl at the beach, like just living the life, you know. And it's like, you know, here's I think I named her Brittany or something, or I don't know. I was like, here's whoever, and you know, she's selling her latest, you know, stock trading course, you know, that you can do right here from the beach. So it's like, yeah, Mormons are human too. That's good. Okay. So you'll like this. So my script was pretty funny. I got to work on it, but it's basically like, you know, she's at the beach, like influencing, and she's selling her courses. And so it's like a funny play on that. And then like, you know, mid commercial, it switches over to like after the funny part, like when people figure out that that's not real, but it's like sadly true, but that this commercial is not about, you know, Brittany and her, you know, course. And it switches over to like, you know, something that's real, which is OT. I think that could be pretty funny. What do you think, Steve? Crude oil, what do you think? I'll let you guys know the exact script once I finish. Because something to grab people's attention, you know, make them laugh, something they can relate to, which is getting screwed by fake gurus out there selling crappy courses. So I think this could be like a humorous way to, you know, really help them know that we understand, you know, what they've been through with all the fake gurus. The gambler the day after effect. Yeah, exactly. Like this is kind of like tapping into that type of thing, you know? So I don't know. I'll try and do it myself, but if I can't, but before we do anything with it, I'll share it with you guys and you let me know if you think it's funny. Because that's the main point. It's like I want it to be kind of like funny advertising. That'll be cool. All right, let's take a look and see what we got here. And we'll start doing some giveaways as well. Yeah, so I think stocks are pushing higher. That's just what I see. You know, you got kind of like, even though you had that dangerous 4-hour pattern on the NASDAQ, I just think just overall stocks just look like they want to kind of try and fight it higher. They just do. That's why I think bonds are going to catch up. But ultimately, I think it's just going to set up a good short for bonds later. And I think stocks just need to go a little higher before they're ready to really fall hard. They got to suck in more people. Steve, I almost put a message in the chat yesterday, but I just was feeling so sick and tired that I couldn't do it. But here, remember what I said yesterday when we left the stream? I said if the 4-hour closes in that pocket there. So I almost sent you guys a message telling you to buy that at 19. But then when I realized I wasn't going to do it myself because I just didn't have the energy to sit and monitor it. But that turned out to be, you know, these are these little things you can take advantage of again and again. Yeah, exactly. You'll be in the elite members area. So if I see anything the rest of the day, I'll let you know. For sure. So yeah, I think I'm just going to let this market work itself out. We've got no good news today. I think it is a market that's going to continue to bring mistakes out of people. So I think it's good to just, we made some money today. We managed it well. And I'm going to be, while I'm working on the marketing campaign, I got to go for a walk. I haven't left the house today because I've been sick and it's freezing here, but I'm going to go take a little walk. And then when I get back, I'll check in. I'm kind of interested in shorting silver potentially later, or bonds, depending on where they are relative to stocks and the dollar. So that's what I'm going to keep an eye on. And I will let you guys know in the elite members area. And crude oil, I got to set up a thing for you to go to the elite members area. I'll do that because I can keep you posted on your crude oil in there as well. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll work on this marketing thing and see if I can get a rough draft going, and I'll see how good I can make it. But if mine ends up just not cutting it, then we'll just get an agency to do it and make it look better. So that's pretty much it. Do you got any parting questions, Steve, before I shut her down here? I'll wait a few minutes. I got no rush. Yeah, I think he'll come. He's just too busy making money on crude oil. He's taking my course. So, and he is a great trader. I just don't want, I'm not going to give his information out publicly because I don't know if he wants that. The Beavis and Butthead oil meme. What's that? You got to show me what that is. I'll do a search. Mm-hmm. Dude, Beavis and Butthead were funny. Okay. What year were you born, Steve? I'm 80. So that's like, if you're born around when I'm born around, then that's like Beavis and Butthead. We grew up with Beavis and Butthead. Oh, 78. Yeah, close enough. Yeah, exactly. We grew up in the same era. Funny. It's cool. All right. Well, I'm going to shut her down. Been a good day. And when you pass those other 2 challenges, Steve, or if you want, when you have time, you've already passed one, you know, you can, you're about to pass the second, whenever it works for you, just, you know, record like a short video and just saying whatever you want to say. You can even just do it on your phone and then just email it to me. And then between you and Crude Oil Trader, I'll put those up on the channel. And then as people start to pop into the stream and start making money and passing their own challenges, I'll ask them to please send, we'll start building that archive on the channel. And that's obviously going to help us grow a lot because nobody else is doing that. I think that'll be cool. Okay, cool. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. That'll be fun to put that on the channel. You too, Crude Oil Trader, if you have time, just record like a 2-minute video later on your phone, you know, about passing your challenges and OMA and how much it helps and blah, blah, blah. And then send it to me and I'll put it up on the channel. Then I'll have you and Steve up there and we'll start building the credibility, you guys. All right. Well, look, take care, you guys. Blessings. It's been a great day. I feel better today. Tomorrow, hopefully I'll be back to full strength. But I'm happy I managed to at least get some streams done yesterday and today. Feeling kind of sick and not fantastic. But it's good. And we're making progress, I think, in terms of how we structure the live trading and my ability to communicate and just all that. I think targeting the funding, helping the funding people, targeting them like, hey guys, come over here and get in our chat and our stream. I think that's a great strategy and we'll just continue to do that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Steve. Yeah. Just, it doesn't matter if you're walking or in your car or wherever. Just, I mean, it's just a personal video and it's not going to be like professional or anything. Yeah, coming along really well, man. Happy you're here and really happy you're progressing and passing the challenges and on your way. Okay, and get your brother in here next time. Be nice to meet him as well. All right, see you guys. Take care. Bye, Crude Oil. Bye, Steve.